Let me ask you something very uncomfortable. How many times in your life, or your business, or your team did things fall apart? Not because something went wrong, but because nobody spoke when it mattered. Because silence pretend to be agreement. That's the most dangerous moment I know. Not a chaos, not a crisis, not a failure, but that calm moment when everyone assumes, yeah, we are all on the same page. And I learned this the hard way, very hard way. I didn't learn this in boardroom. I didn't learn it from books or consultants or coaches. I learned in environments where failure had consequences, real consequences. Military, conflict zones, war zones, high-risk operations, investigations, interrogations, places where silence doesn't mean peace at all. It means risk. In those environments, nothing meaningful begins with movement. Well, it begins with conversation. You talk things through. You challenge assumptions. You question the plans. You listen. You listen not because certainty is possible, but because misunderstanding is preventable. And yet in business, in leadership, in partnerships, this is exactly where people cut corners. Let's go come to the core truth. Here is the lie we tell ourselves. You, me, and everybody between those lines will figure out later. How many times did you hear this or you even say it? Later becomes a tension. Tension becomes a resentment. A resentment becomes breakdown. And everyone acts surprised. Everyone acts surprised. But the failure didn't start there. It started earlier. Remember? It started much earlier in silence. It goes without saying, planning is often misunderstood. People hear planning and they think control, strictness, micromanagement. That's not what planning is. Planning is care. It's saying, this matters enough to talk about. It's respect for time, it's respect for effort, respect for people. And how I know this? Those who know me, they know I spent almost 1,800 consecutive combat days in war. I was in military over 10 years. I work in military intelligence, diplomatic intelligence, and security services. Planning was respect for time, respect for effort, and for the most valuable thing, people. Absolutely people. So that's how I know I was the part of planning or I planned. Every team brings different personalities into the same space. Some people need a structure. Some people need a more flexibility. Some are disciplined by habit. Others are disciplined by instinct. Nothing of this is wrong. But there is a problem. Here is the problem. Difference doesn't break teams. What breaks teams is silence. Silence around difference does. When nobody says, this is how I work, this is what I need, this is what I expect. The contrast, that same contrast becomes conflict. And that is why the silence is so dangerous. It's dangerous. Because when communication disappears, people don't stop thinking. What they do, it's assuming what he says, what he thinks, what he dreams about, who he told, what she did. People assume. Assumption, it's a mother of all. You feel the words. I'm just saying this, guys. I've been the part of the solutions. I've been the part of the problems. Planning, it's necessary. Communication, it's necessary. But when communication disappears, people don't stop thinking, they start assuming. What they do actually, they tell themselves stories. Maybe this doesn't matter anymore. Maybe I'm carrying this alone. Maybe we are not aligned after all. Most of these stories are incomplete. Some are unfair. But they shape behavior. Absolutely. And trust. Trust doesn't usually collapse in one dramatic moment. It erodes quietly through absence, through postponed conversations, through things left unsaid. So let me share my experience through a disciplined lens. In high-risk environments, communication is never about ego. It's about responsibility, accountability. You speak because silence creates danger. You plan because uncertainty demands respect. And preparation is not about guaranteeing success. No preparation can guarantee success, but makes you ready, makes you prepared. That's what the preparation it is about. Nobody can tell you if you prepare yourself, you're going to be the Olympic record holder. Nobody can say this. It's about making sure that when things change, and they always do, people know how to respond together. That is leadership. That's the leadership. Preparation does not remove uncertainty. It makes uncertainty survivable. I learned this, guys, in a war. I'm telling you right now, right here. I survived the war because we prepared ourselves and survived. Teams that talk early adapt faster. Decisions carry context and pressure becomes manageable. That's what it is, because it's flexibility. And true flexibility comes from preparation, not from avoiding. And let me say this clearly. Most failures are not caused by lack of talent, not a lack of effort, not a lack of intelligence. They are caused by quiet assumption that alignment exists without ever checking. Let's go talk about trust. Trust is not built in crisis. You can forget this, that you're building trust in crisis. Whoever told you this, it's a liar. I never built a trust in my peers or my friends or my colleagues, when I went in the combat. It was built long before combat, before the deal, before the project, before the journey, before the first step into combat. That's when you build your trust. So if something feels heavy right now, if tension is building and you can't quite name it, ask yourself this. What conversations are we postponing? What are we assuming instead of confirming? Because most failures don't announce themselves. They happen. They happen quietly, early, in silence. You want to hear the good news? They are all preventable. I unpack these truths deeper on my podcast. Real conversations about leadership, discipline, failure, and responsibility. And if this resonates, you already know why. Because life is the battlefield. And this is how you win it. Thank you for watching. Feel free to subscribe, share, like, and comment. And let me know how important communication in planning is important for you, maybe your family, maybe your relationship, or maybe your team. Let me know in the comment section below. Thank you for watching.